When I was a lecturer in the University of Liberia, Toba Boulevard, Monrovia, just a stone throw to the still presidential palace, a vital landmark property handed over to the Liberians by the American colonial masters. 4 Nigerian students visited the university with their Liberian friends. They were students of UNICA, University of California, and were searching for their dissertation on Nigerian cause. They were led to my office by another Nigerian lecturer, a female Yoruba. Ironically, these 4 students represent the mantra Wazobia because they were 2 Igbos, 1 Hausa and a Yoruba. The 3 major tribes in Nigeria. They wanted to add to their research by my explaining to them in logical, reasonable words why they should come back to Nigeria after their study. Young people in Nigeria, according to them, are disillusioned, restive, and weary of pronouncements on the slogan level. They are not satisfied with negations. They've been told over and over again what to hate and what to fight for. They want to know what to be and what to do. There were some Liberian students with them. I did not stand by washing our dirty pants outside for all to see. I didn't tell them they should come back to Nigeria to help fight bandits, herdsmen, Boko Haram, and other terrorist groups. I refused to tell them about the high percentage of inflation and unemployment that are ravaging the country. I kept mute on no electricity, tap-borne water, bad roads, poor infrastructure, and corrupt leaders. I didn't tell them to come home and bear witness to school kidnapping, armed robbery, and rising injustice in our society. Nor did I mention the treasuries of the judiciary and the INEC. Some of these are very scary things that will not help them to know what to be and what to do. And all this egregious news will amount to washing our sordid pants outside. So this was what I told them. I told them they should come home not for what we were, but for what we might become. Self-governing democracy was not an established creed, but a program for growth. I reminded them that we had gone further than some African countries in democracy amid terrorism, crime, illusions, mistakes, and false starts to get to work on how to spread out what people needed much more. The sense of belonging, the faith in human dignity, the confidence of each man in the greatness of his own, without which life is meaninglessly servitude. I told them to work on our failures because they might contain the seeds of great victories to come, not of the victories that come through overcoming the evil inherent in mankind through urgent and one-hearted use of our best brains. I told them to return home for the hope we still have, that there is enough goodness in man to use the omnipotent science has given him to ennoble his life on earth instead of degrading it. Finally, I told them that self-government through dangers and distortions and failures is the Nigerian cause. Faith in democracy, when all is said and done, is faith in the eventual goodness of man. After all, the Americans, who are among the fathers of democracy, have wobbled through corrections for over 200 years. The horrible fact of human existence was that sometimes people work against their self-interest. As a great portrayal of political authority in the edifice of Nigerian society, there are certain restrictions expected from you. Tiny precautions reverse the cause of destructions. You may possess natural sweetness of disposition and mind with a precision that was extraordinary, but evil could spring from one's desire to do good. International news media like CNN isn't the best arena to display the treacheries of your country and dangerous optimism of spurious idealists. When you turn into official town crier to scare investors away from your country by constantly crying wolf and announcing how corrupt your country is, other nations help you to disseminate the egregious news. Don't ever expect your profound negation to be quelled when you eventually ascend the throne of grace, because unlike Nigerians, these people have retentive memory that will perpetuate your adverse pronouncements. It is therefore better to address the international community with caution, bearing in mind that our points of pride could one day come home to haunt us. Hatred, ego, and self-delusion are three deadly conspiracies that can mar our good intentions. Every man in his lifetime makes many mistakes. That is naturally human and unavoidable. The essential trick is never to make the mistake that boomerangs back to destroy you. Moral desperation and all-out gamble on good against evil could attract invidious opinions against a good man. Self-restriction is a tool only the wise can apply in frenzy of excitement. When we are loved and cherished by others, the need for more caution and self-control become needful things. There is no greater opening for tragedy than the stupid, unrestricted utterances. Never mind the unhealthy swarming of sycophants and non-existent hypocritical songs of praises heaped on you. Always be wary of your speech outside Nigeria. Generally, the media are sanctified criminals who rob good men of their reputations. Every of your utterance is exponentially magnified into explosive imaginations. There is no need to live in trouble until trouble comes. Even the past is always in motion in Nigeria. We keep rearranging it in many vital ways. All the violences of 1960s political scenes are once more repeating its ugly head. The fiesta energies of our forefathers becoming evanescent images in our struggles against ethnicism, nepotism, and religious bigotry. The bones of our ancestors crying out in various ways from the ground. We essentially know that reality was fast sagging at the structural weakness of our incumbent leaders, and unreality has been given a bold face to exist among us. There are things which don't rest even if they are dead. Such colossal impunities like total collapse of legislative functions of check and balances, illogical treacheries of the judiciary, the Machiavellian intrigues of the executive arm of the government, and the obnoxious histrionics of an electoral body distended with magic ignorance, hot insults of crudelty, and composed of pompous wizards and wretched of the earth. We know and understand that our country has weakened structures, one level falling down into the other, the executive crashing down into the corrupt legislation, and the legislature falling over the judiciary. Every time pool in Nigeria is totally stagnant and swarming, as the persistent corruption is eating through the fabric of all our existence like battery acid eating its way into a piece of cloth. Our political leaders are sores on our skin of existence. They are only able to exist because things are going wrong. All things in all its ramifications. We feel the sensation of vertigo or transient nausea every time we think about our existence. Yet we cannot constitute nuisances to ourselves by becoming our own spies. Our country had been going to wreck and ruin for years because of our unpatriotic, selfish utterances to international media and other global institutions such as Amnesty International. There is an exigent need for restrictions. Though we walk through our muddy swamps, the country still remains our own. Maybe if other nations of the world had concentrated on contentious litany on their own countries, they could also find themselves in the same murky waters as we swim today. Every country has a story to tell concerning murkiness and deterioration. Every man in Nigeria must be completely responsible for his actions, no matter the stress, the remorse, swarming, or the hard circumstances. Action defines a man. Words are only farts in the wind. When we continue to devalue our country, we also devalue ourselves. Patriotism defines America because every one of them believes in their country. When there was a balance of trade deficit with Japan, patriotism surfaced in its entirety. They stopped patronizing Japanese cars, though most of these cars were assembled in Detroit. But in Nigeria, the government and the society are the enemy, forgetting that the country is a great tree shedding the fruit that must feed and shelter all of us. A trailing cloak of gold will eventually brush out its origin. It requires a true gold to burnish after severe rubbing or trial. Ferocity without selection is a mere braggadocio. True patriotism requires that the word ferocity is too precious a weapon to be used against your interest. It must always have an important purpose internally, not externally. The statistics used to measure our country by international bodies are unfortunately provided by our citizens. Saturation of international airwaves with unconstructive criticisms serve as a veritable raw materials for these foreigners. When the United Nations Prospect 2025 declared life expectancy of 54.6 years in Nigeria, it is a summary of several interviews granted by Nigerians, by our people. The implacable hatred of Nigerian citizens becomes glaring in BBC interviews and other foreign medias. The interview granted by the former First Lady, Aisha Buhari, still lingers in our memories up to today. When you torpedoes your country because of hatred, you are no less than a closeted politician. There is always a time for everything, a time for struggle, a time for straightforwardness, and a time for restrictions, especially when we are marketing our country to the international world. It is like honey making bees turning into angry hornets with slight provocation. When a pragmatic and politically accepted choice begins to play a defamation samba to outside world, his value begins to diminish. What is past, never go back, not for excuse, not for justification, not for happiness. Sometimes we must allow the past to rest in peace in its grave. Instead, dwell constructively in the future and what the future will portend for the people of Nigeria under your watch. We need to hear how the country will flower and prosper under you, especially when you grant an international interview. Mirages do not create shadows, so don't expect that those outlandish interviews will bring votes for you. Apply Machiavellian subtlety and political wisdom shed you with a geniality that puts everybody at ease. Excessive oratory tax our virtue and vulnerability. There is always an essential cost for those who live on high level of tension, like our beloved politicians. Always try to earn respect from everyone by deed, not words. Nigerians are tired of empty words and blotted promises. As we march towards a new Nigeria, let us remember that it is a crucial duty of democracy to lift up the downtrodden and also to feed the unfortunate poor of Nigeria.